first speaker. So for 15 years, our next speaker has been helping executives in over 40 countries become cosmopolitan leaders. Cosmopolitan leaders. That's different, isn't it? Cosmopolitan leaders think differently than parochial leaders. They transcend boundaries and they get better results. This gentleman helped SBC, a Fortune 500 company, build an international business from $0 to $20 million in 3 years. I'm sorry, $0 to $200 million in 3 years. He helped Ameritech, a $5 billion company, enter China and build a $20 million business. He helped Wiltel, a $1 billion company, profitably triple sales in 8 months. Triple sales in 8 months. That's pretty substantial. While they entered and emerged from bankruptcy. He leads the Executive Officers Club, a group of over 100 CEOs dedicated to leadership excellence, and is a sought-after professional speaker on the topic of cosmopolitan leadership. Please join me, the first Seabold Success Network speaker from Portland, Mr. Mike Sconia.
Abe Lincoln, backwoods lawyer, stuns the smart money by winning the Republican nomination, and then he becomes president. Instead of packing his cabinet with a bunch of cronies, he offers his 4 defeated rivals the top jobs. And one of these guys calls Lincoln a long-armed ape. Can you imagine? A long-armed ape. Lincoln offers him the top job, Secretary of War. And Lincoln transforms this group of bickering presidential wannabes into an effective team, and they excel during a civil war. Barack Obama, President Obama, he is showing some similar cosmopolitan leadership. He's taken a defeated rival for the Democratic nomination and persuaded her to become his Secretary of State. I mean, look at the headlines. Mortgage meltdown. Madoff ripoff. We need cosmopolitan leadership. Cosmopolitan leaders transcend self-interest, and they create results that benefit everybody involved. Shareholders, customers, suppliers, employees, and communities. Let me give you an example. I was in Los Angeles after giving a speech, and next to me is this tan, wrinkly, old guy. It's Art Linkletter. You guys remember Art? Yeah, for over 25 years he had the top shows on TV like, say the darndest things. So I said, Art, you look great. He frowned and said, you thought I was dead, didn't you? Busted, right? I said, yeah, but you look great. What are you doing? Where are you going? He said, I'm going to Portland for a speech. I said, really? How often do you do that? He said, oh, I speak about 70 times a year, traveling over 150,000 miles. I said, no disrespect intended, but how old are you? He said, I'm 95. Yeah, 95. I said, well, are you traveling with anybody? He said, no, I travel by myself, though sometimes my wife likes to come along, even though we've been married over 73 years. I said, well, what have you been doing recently? He said, oh, I had a meeting with President Bush in the White House. I said, how do you set up something like that? He said, that's easy. I just called his mother. Of course, right? Brilliant. Why didn't I think of that? So I said, how did it pan out? He said, well, I called her. I said, Barb, it's about time I had a chat with that son of yours. She said, well, which one? He said, the one in the White House. She said, great idea, but there's a war on. He said, yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to chat with him about. So I said, what happened? He said, President Bush greets me in the Oval Office and says, Art, my mama tells me you have spent more time in the White House than I have. And the president laughs. I said, Art, why would he laugh? He said, well, I've been an advisor to every president since Roosevelt. Teddy. Franklin, come on, I'm only 95. So we get off the plane, and I couldn't get this idea out of my head. So I called him, and I said, Art, I want to interview you for a TV show about people like you, who lead long, happy, successful lives. We got to learn how to do this. He said, great idea. Come down to my office in Beverly Hills. We'll tape it here. I said, sure. He said, listen, I'm usually booked at least a year in advance. In fact, I'm already booked for my 100th birthday. I said, great. But listen, I got an opening in 2 weeks. Can you make it? I said, 2 weeks? He said, yeah. I said, geez. And I thought, wait a second. He's 95. Yeah. He's got underwear and socks older than me, right? So I said, I'll be there. And I hung up the phone and I realized I don't have a clue how I'm going to pull this together. I don't know anything about television. So I recently joined the Executive Officers Club. It's a leadership and mentoring network for folks who run and own businesses. So I picked up the directory and started calling people. And in 2 hours, I had a TV crew, Hollywood makeup artist, and an executive producer agree to help me. And 2 weeks later, I had an amazing interview with Art and began this TV journey that's still unfolding. In fact, we have the interview available on DVD in the back here. This is a guy who's a lifelong cosmopolitan leader, and he shared some amazing stuff with us. Really, really helpful. Yeah, I was in southern China one winter afternoon and headed out for lunch by myself. Went into this tiny place, it was packed. Sat down, grabbed a menu, but it was all in Chinese. I didn't have a clue what it said. So I look around and everybody's got a bowl of stew. So I point at one of those, and a couple minutes later my food arrives. It smells great, so I dig in and I look up, and everybody in the restaurant is watching me eat. Everybody. Now I'm the only non-Chinese there. Now this is not so unusual. Folks in China are very, very proud of their culture and their history, and they want to know what others think. So this guy at the table next to me goes, so you like the food? I said, yeah, it's great. He says, special meal for winter, keep you warm. Most foreigners don't like this meat. You open mind. I said, it's wild boar, isn't it? He said, oh, you a funny guy. And he translates this for everybody in the room. 他想这是野猪肉. And they all laugh. Now I'm confused, because my Chinese is really terrible at this point. And I pick up the bowl and point it and I go, oink, oink, oink. He says, no. I point again and go, bah, bah. He says, no. Somebody behind me goes, arf! He says, yeah, you have lunch with Lassie. Yeah, I looked at that bowl of doggy stew for a long time. Yeah, there's got to be a cosmopolitan leadership lesson in there somewhere, right? And there is. You have to be open to new ways of doing things, new ideas. Let me tell you how we can work together. My keynote is $7,500. My 6-hour training is $10,000, and my average consulting agreement is 12 months and $250,000. My clients are executives in Fortune 500 companies. They have the profit and loss responsibility exceeding $200 million. They manage teams across functions and geographic regions. Now, my offer to you is 10% of my gross sales for the first 12 months of any new engagement where you introduce me to a qualified head of a business. You make the introduction, I close the deal. Love to work with you. I'm going to be at table number 1. During the break, come see me and, like Steve said, let's make some money.